Don't turn back! I see you!
You think you're safe on quiet country roads at night. Roads you've driven 100 times before. Roads that feel familiar, harmless. That's what I thought too, until last New Year's Eve. Before I start, I need to make one thing clear. I live a straight-edge lifestyle. I don't drink, I don't do drugs, and I know the difference between imagination and reality. What happened to me that night was real, every second of it. I live on the outskirts of a small southern town, the kind of place where streetlights disappear quickly and darkness takes over. Once you leave the main road, it's nothing but miles of dense forest and narrow, winding country roads. Silence, isolation. Some of my friends live even deeper out there, far from town. One of them is Darren. His family lives in a wealthy neighborhood hidden inside the woods, only reachable by a long, narrow back road that barely feels like it should exist. Every year, Darren's family throws a big New Year's Eve party. Friends, family, music, food. I'm always invited, and I always go. That year, winter came late. It stayed warm for weeks, then suddenly, just days before New Year's Eve, the temperature dropped fast. The air felt sharp. The road felt rougher than usual. I hate using my high beams at night, but that evening, the darkness was overwhelming. Trees lined both sides of the road so tightly that even with my lights on, it felt like I was driving through a tunnel of black. There were no houses along the way, except one, an old shack that looked abandoned, weather-beaten wood, broken windows. I had passed it dozens of times before, and sometimes I thought I saw lights inside. I always convinced myself it was nothing. A few minutes into the drive, on a rare straight stretch of road, my headlights caught something white ahead. At first, I couldn't tell what it was. As I got closer, my chest tightened. It was a woman. She stood completely still at the edge of the road, right where the trees began. She was wearing a long white gown, thin and flowing, completely inappropriate for the freezing cold. She didn't wave. She didn't ask for help. She didn't move. I kept my high beams on, gripping the steering wheel, silently begging that she wouldn't step into the road. I passed her. Nothing happened. But then, instinctively, I checked my rearview mirror. In the red glow of my taillights, I saw her turn her body, slowly, to face my car. She didn't follow. She didn't chase. She just stood there, watching me disappear into the darkness. I arrived at Darren's house around 8 that night. The house sat in a large clearing surrounded by forest. Warm lights, music, laughter. For a while, I managed to forget what I had seen. The night went on. The countdown, midnight, celebrations. Eventually, people started leaving. I stayed behind to help clean up, like I always do. By the time I left, my car was the only one parked outside. When I started the engine, a low tire pressure warning popped up. My car is old, and this happens whenever the weather suddenly gets cold, so I didn't think much of it. As I pulled away, the memory of the woman came back. I considered taking the longer route home to avoid that road, but it would add 20 minutes, and it was late. I chose the same road. That was my mistake. Only a few minutes in, the car started to feel wrong. Vibrations, then a slow, horrible scraping sound, metal against asphalt. The car lost power and rolled to a stop. My heart was racing. I got out and turned on my phone's flashlight. I checked the tires one by one. Every single one of them had been shredded, not blown out, not punctured, torn apart. All 4. That's when the forest went silent. No wind, no insects, no distant animals. A silence so complete, it felt unnatural. Then, I heard a twig snap inside the trees. I turned my flashlight off and stood there in complete darkness, barely breathing. Leaves rustled slowly, deliberately, like something was moving closer. Then, a calm, quiet voice spoke. "I see you." My body froze. My throat locked. The voice wasn't angry. It wasn't aggressive. Somehow, that made it worse. Then, it spoke again. "Can you see me?" Adrenaline surged through me. I turned the flashlight back on and aimed it toward the tree line. She was there. The woman from the road. Up close, she was horrifying. Her long white gown was filthy, stained dark with dirt and something else I didn't want to identify. Her painfully thin skin was pale and stretched tight over her bones. Her long gray hair hung in tangled strands down to her elbows. And her face, half of her jaw, was missing. Yet somehow, she was trying to smile. I didn't think. I ran. I sprinted down the road towards Darren's house, lungs burning, legs screaming. Behind me, branches snapped and leaves tore through the undergrowth. She was chasing me. I don't know how long I ran. I don't know how I didn't fall. I only stopped when I reached the house, pounding on the door, screaming for help. Darren's mother opened it and pulled me inside immediately. I told them everything. They called the police and a towing service and insisted I stay the night. I thought I was safe. I was wrong. At exactly 3:14 a.m., I woke up to a soft tapping sound. It was coming from the window. Then I heard her voice again, muffled but unmistakable. "I see you." Something struck the glass. Then another sound. I didn't move until morning. The police searched the area. They found a large, rusty knife in the yard and dead, gutted animals scattered through the nearby woods. They never found the woman. Years later, I thought my life had finally returned to normal. Then came the taxi. I was 26, flying home from San Diego. It was late. I took a taxi from the airport. At first, the driver seemed normal. Then, he started staring at me through the mirror, asking personal questions, flirting. Then, he missed my exit. When I saw a police car nearby, I opened the door and ran. He didn't chase me. That night, someone knocked on my apartment door. The next day, my neighbor told me someone had tried to get inside. To this day, I don't know if it was the taxi driver or something worse. Because months later, after I moved again, after I installed security cameras, after I convinced myself it was finally over, I woke up to a notification. Motion detected. The timestamp read 3:14 a.m. My hands shook as I opened the footage. At first, there was nothing, just the empty hallway outside my door. Then, the camera glitched. The screen went black for half a second. When it came back, a woman was standing there, barefoot, long white gown, her head tilted at an unnatural angle. She wasn't knocking. She wasn't moving. She was staring directly into the camera. Slowly, she raised her hand. Between her fingers was a rusty knife. The footage cut out. No more alerts, no explanation. But when I checked my phone that morning, there was one unread message from an unknown number. 3 words: "Don't look behind you." And that's when I realized something terrifying. It was never about the road. It was never about the party. It wasn't even about the taxi. She wasn't trying to scare me. She was making sure I knew she could still find me.
If you survived this story and want to see what comes next, make sure to like and subscribe before it's too late.